All right, guys. So today I am resuming my thoughts on that one article. And shoot, I have it here, but I have it in reader mode. I forgot the name of it. Oh yeah, Broadly, Vice, whatever, whatever, talking about the many ways that men can make women's lives easier, or in other words, have women do nothing. And hello, Garuda Legends. I see you. So yeah, I'm just going to pick up where I left off because I thought that it was pretty interesting, and I'm just eager to put my thoughts out there and hear what you guys have to say. So I think I stopped at number 31, which darn it, I forgot to link the article to the description in this stream. But anyways, I'll do that when I concluded. Number 31 was saying about casting women in parts written for men, and that is because we know how to rule kingdoms, go to war, be, not be, and wait for Godot, whatever that name is. I don't even recognize it right now. But the trouble that I have with that statement is the fact that you want to cast women for roles that were written for men. If it's written for a man, why do you want to force a woman into that role? Like, we are not trying to fit a woman into that role deliberately. That's why it's reserved for a man. What would happen if we decided to say cast men for the roles of women? Would that be okay? No. But because the point is to apparently lift the oppression from the women based on the so called patriarchy that I to this day failed to see, then, I find it crazy. I find this extreme. And like I said, I'm not saying that there are societies out there that do not oppress women. I'm sure they are. Like, there are. We hear about some of them and whatnot. But like I always try to make it clear, I'm not going to comment on societies that are foreign to me. So if I'm in a country that does not have that challenge, why am I going to bring it up? So I thought that I would just put that out there just in case you decide to try to tell me that I need to try something like one of those countries where women really have a rough time. So just to let you know, I am aware, but I'm only going to limit it to the source of this article, which is from a developed nation. So just bear that in mind as you hear me out on this. And then number 32 is an interesting one. It says pay for porn. I mean, isn't there content out there that you can pay for anyway? So if you can get an item or a service for free, why are you trying to force a specific group of people to pay for it? To me, that sounds like discrimination. And as far as I know, we are trying to move society forward when it comes to that. This is literally the opposite of that. So when it comes to paying for content, if you can get to it in a free manner and it be legal, then you go for it. But why are you trying to say that you have to force a specific person to pay for something just because of how they were born? Like, I don't know. It's crazy. The more I read this, the more my brain just. Number 33 says recognize that sex work is work. Be an advocate for and the ally to sex workers without speaking for them. I mean, don't aren't men also able to hold positions in that industry as well? So, I mean, I guess the only reason that would be frowned upon is because I don't know about you, but for me, the idea of being involved with someone who is in that business, like being involved with them in an intimate way, I would not appreciate that. I already did a stream on how I would feel if my spouse or whatever was into porn and whatnot. I wouldn't be okay with it. So why should most people be okay with viewing such an act as a business? Some people are going to be okay with it, and some people are not. And for the people who have their reasons for not being okay for it, just respect it. But to put it bluntly, I guess, that is not really a career that is useful. It's just entertainment. And it's also something that is just not appropriate for everybody. And there are people who have their customs, traditions, religions, beliefs, whatever. And then people are just different. And you have to understand that people are different. So if they want to penalize you for being involved in such a business, then they have their reasons. Like the owners of a specific company, usually they have their core values. If you are not respecting nor being the ideal representative of such values, then they have all the right in the world to criticize you for it or reject your application if you were to, say, look for a job in a new company or a new industry. See what I'm getting at? So, I don't know. I feel like if that's frowned upon, it deserves to be frowned upon because it's not an ideal career, period. So if you don't want to be talked about in that manner, then don't be involved in the business if you will not be able to handle the consequences that come with it. Number 34 says share political hot takes from women as well as men. They might not be as widely accessible, so look for them. What do you mean by hot takes? I guess topics that are like critical or something that it's okay to listen to a woman's opinion. I mean, put it this way, what I have to say about being in government and voicing your opinion and whatnot, and being a person who is influential and can instigate change. If you want more women representatives in the judge system, in the court system. How about if you go to school, to law school, and study for that so that you can get hired as a judge and execute your functions as such? If you need more women reps in the House, how about if you get educated, go to college, and pursue a career that would enable you to hold such a position? But if you are sitting, I don't know on what career, and then you're making a lot of noise about how you want things to change, but you do not pursue something that will put you in the position to have that power to be making those decisions and changes, then I don't know what to tell you, dear. Like, that's the whole reason I don't sit here and whine and complain about a lot of things. And if I do, I just express it, but I'm not sitting here being all salty about things not going my way when I'm not trying too hard to A, go to college to get the credentials, and B, be in that kind of an environment anyway. So if you really, really burn to see more women like that, then I suggest that you yourself consider your career choice a little better and then become that influential figure. But but if you're just trying to say that women are oppressed and they're not getting hired for positions like this, that is all in your head because you get hired usually. Like the proper way to hire someone is that they are prepared, they are appropriate and suitable for that position, not because of affirmative action. I'm just saying. Number 35 says, understand that it was never about ethics in journalism. Whatever. I'm not even going to comment on that one. It's just straightforward. 36 says, speak less in meetings today to make space for your women colleagues to share their thoughts. I mean, when I go to any meeting, period, opinions are welcome. Everyone always says, like at every single meeting, at the end, they say the floor is open. Does anyone have anything to say, anything to add? And it's not being asked as any more men got anything to say or only guys, please tell me what it is that is in your mind right now, if anything. No, the floor is open for you to speak. If you choose not to because you feel awkward or intimidated that maybe in your group the ratio between men and women is just women are less present, then that's just the way things happen to be. How about if you manifest yourself as a confident person, voice your opinion no matter what, and you'll see the change. But there's no one putting duct tape on your mouth, right? Like over your lips. No one is doing that. Is anyone placing their hand over your mouth? No. To me, that would keep you from speaking, and it would be quite an illegal way to do it. So, all this nonsense of speak less, I think that would be a terrible idea because one of the things that make a job particularly challenging is communication. Not everyone handles it very well. So if you're encouraging the, for communication to be limited just because of someone's gender and whatnot, I think you gotta do some reevaluation upon yourself, because then you are trying to mute someone who has substantial information to add, and then that information does not get to the source it needs to get, or excuse me, to the recipient who needs to hear that. And then that's why disasters at work happen. So I think you need to just take it easy. If you're leading the meeting, make sure women are being heard as much as men. Again, you are not going to be heard if you are not speaking. You are literally muting yourself with what's in your head, which you want to think that you're a victim all the time. You are not a victim of anything. You're just not. Number 37 says, if a woman makes a good point, said, that was a good point. Don't repeat her point and take credit for it. That literally has never happened anywhere I have been to. And I have been in my share of meetings that varied in different levels. So I don't know what kind of extreme world you live in your head, but I promise you that it's all in your head. Because if you have really gone through that, citation needed. Because honestly, someone repeating their point and taking credit for it, it just doesn't happen. I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen. And if that does happen, what's happening is maybe you were not loud enough and someone decided to reiterate what you said so that the whole audience could hear it better. Or someone may say that they were not clear on what you said. Don't take offense to it if someone repeats it. Or sometimes a way that someone proves that they have listened to you is that they may paraphrase what you said, you know? And I like it when people paraphrase after what I said, because it shows me that they, in their own world, in their own mind, in their own vocabulary and capacity, they are still with me. I don't take offense to that. I am actually quite appreciative of that, that they are focused and that they care enough to repeat what I said to make sure that the way that I delivered it and the way that they interpreted it is truly um, the correct thing. Like, it's the right thing. It's what I intended. So, again, I think you're just reaching. 38, promote women. Their leadership styles may be different than yours. That's probably a good thing. Why is that a good thing? Explain. You don't explain why that's a good thing. I have had terrible female managers, and I have had great male managers. I have also had male managers that could have used improvements. I have also had great female managers, and I have had great managers who even accepted that they could take feedback and they have room for improvement. If you are not being promoted, it's probably because the candidate who went against you is just better than you. There is nothing wrong. The world is very competitive out there. We cannot give you preference just because of your physical status. I mean, to me, that is just absurd. Um, And on the note of leadership styles being different, it's true. I'm not going to deny that I notice some patterns when I have a male leader versus a female leader. But again, just like in the previous point, communication. You got to communicate some stuff. But that is not possible if you are encouraging for someone to just straight up be muted just because of their gender. That's ridiculous. Number 39 says recruit women on the same salary as men, even if they don't ask for it. Please explain yourself because it has been proven again and again that there is no salary discrepancy. And if you get hired for a position, maybe you were hired under circumstances known as you are not ideal for the position, but we're going to give you the opportunity because we believe that you can learn, train, and get better to where you can reach that salary that a more experienced and capable person can earn. So it's crazy that you just say, hire this person who is not as good as the ideal candidate that we're looking for, just because it just doesn't work like that. You have to, in the business world, you have to be competitive to be rewarded as such. Number 40 says open doors for women with caring responsibilities by offering flexible employment contracts. Well, if they give you flexible employment contracts, they got to do it for the men too. If you cannot abide by the terms and conditions, simply do not apply. Because what can happen is you'll get hired, and as soon as you're in the door, you start establishing restrictions on yourself that you did not discuss during your interview. Like during your interview, you presented yourself as someone who's committed, someone who's ready, someone who's going to make the job and the company a priority. But then, as soon as you walk in the door on your first day, you're establishing limitations and all that we could not even foresee because we thought that you were being sincere and committed. So just don't waste other people's time. If you don't like what you see that's written on paper and it's a contract, do not commit to it. Period. These rules existed way before your interest in the job. So just respect it. 41 says if you meet a man and a woman at work, do not assume the man is the superior for literally no reason. Who does that? Who walks somewhere and thinks, the guy is superior? Now, I'm not gonna lie, there have been situations in which I guess that's the behavior that someone exhibited. Like, I work in customer service, and sometimes I see that a specific group of people prefer to go for, say, a female manager, and then others see a guy immediately who's maybe tall or something, and they think that he is in a manager position. But usually they make that assumption because they are regular customers and they see this person in the building very often, just overseeing many things, and people who work there also approach him. So clearly, he has to be a source of knowledge, of leadership. So, who better than him to be approached, right? So, to me, it's just crazy that you sit there and just say that everyone assumes that a man is just in the superior role. No, when you go somewhere and you see someone in uniform, the uniforms at every place that you go to typically look about the same. Like if it's if it's take Walmart for example, they all seem to wear the navy with the khaki pants or something. So no one is assuming that the guy would be in a superior position there. But then again, some places do require that the managers wear like their collar shirts or something, a little different. In that situation, if you see a lady who has the logo of the place you're at and she's well dressed, would you assume that she is in a manager role? Yes, right? Same thing with men. So I guess dress accordingly. That's what I would say. But seriously, you're making an issue out of of something that's literally not there. Number 42 says if you're wrongly assumed to be more experienced than a woman colleague, correct that person and pass the platform to the woman who knows more. I mean, who does that? Again, who does that? Like, why do you even need to cede the position? Say, if the guy who is beneath you, like inferior to you in this case, um, is knowledgeable and is able to help this person, why would you not let them take care of the person and then have them forwarded to you? If that person can do the same job as you, let them. To me, that's just crazy. You're just looking, you seem to be hungry for attention and you have like self esteem issues or self confidence issues, and that is on you. You cannot sit there and try to get the world to think like you. That would be horrible. Number 43 says make a round of tea for the office. Why? What if I don't drink tea? You're just going to make a random round of tea for it to get wasted. What if no one in there wants tea? How about if you just worry about the things that you need to be worried about? Because usually in office settings, that's already taken care of. They have someone who works literally focused on providing the refreshments and whatnot. So that's just crazy. 44 says wash up, whatever that means. 45 says if you find you're only interviewing men for a role, rewrite the job listing so that it's more welcoming to women. So, if you have a job that requires for you to be extremely physically capable, you are expected to take that job description, amend it so that it's more suitable for a woman to be competent for it. I mean, if you're a woman who's just hardcore and physically strong and whatnot, sure, by all means, apply and demonstrate that. But you cannot expect for someone to make such amendments to suit your personal agenda of your just of just wanting to see more women in a place just because. I mean, I would love for a job listing to be honest about what the expectations in the role are. If the job is dangerous, I want to know so that I know what kind of danger I'll be exposed to and decide whether or not I can be safe while in that job setting. It's just crazy that you're saying rewrite the job listing so that it's more welcoming to women. More welcoming to women. The job listing probably doesn't even say men only can apply, does it? So that means that the job listing is welcoming women, but only if you are capable. And let's face it, there are some jobs out there that women simply cannot traditionally, normally, regularly, typically do. And that is okay. As opposed to just sitting there and crying about it because you only look at the number of the salary and you want that, but you want to have it without earning it. Go somewhere else. Do not waste their time and do not put your life at risk. Please. 46 says make sure you have women on your interview panel. Again, when does that happen? When do women get told you cannot be part of the panel? Usually, panels just so happen to be pretty uh, diverse. At least all the panels I've been to have been diverse. So I don't know what you're whining about in there. 47 says tell female colleagues what your salary is. Why? That is personal information. I don't go around asking neither female coworkers nor male coworkers, what is your salary? How much do you make? How much do you get paid an hour? Nobody asks me that either. Why? Because people understand that that is personal information that we don't need to be divulging. So it's crazy. Why do you want to know what a guy makes? Because you want to date him and then leech off him? Just be honest about that one, because I know that a lot of women out there just do that. You like to be maintained. You don't like to work for your stuff. That, by you saying that, that's almost what it looks like. You just want to immediately be all up in the guy's business, not even to make it a feminist issue. It's all about your interests, your personal interests. This guy is making more than me, but you're going to be completely oblivious to what made the guy get to his status. Did he go to school? Has he had experience? Did he train for this? Like, did he take specific trainings and courses that usually the job offers for you to get pay increases? Is he someone who has, let's say, perfect attendance? Is he taking a lot of vacation time? Is he having kids like crazy? Because let's face it, some women do like to have kids to trap a man. Like, who hasn't heard of that story? So you need to be really careful about what you encourage, all right? Because that's none of anyone's business except that person whom that corresponds to. 48 says, make sure there's childcare at your events. Why? That's what babysitters are for. Mostly family members, if you're close to them, they are more than happy to take care of your offspring that you did not plan on having, to where you can take care of them. And now you're begging for other people to solve your problems. If you saw that this was going to become a problem and you cannot count on your spouse to take care of your children, then, I mean, I'm sorry, but this is the business world. The business world does not have to figure out your personal life. It just doesn't. Some places are nice enough and kind enough to accommodate you for that, but you cannot expect for them to be pulling money out of their pocket, the company pocket, to have childcare presently just because. I mean, just no. Either figure it out, or just call out, or just quit from the job because you cannot meet the demands of the company like your male counterparts can. And then if you happen to be a single mother or something, then again, it is your responsibility. You have to figure that out. And I'm normally someone who doesn't even side with corporate like that, but again, I'm not the best at understanding the business world, but there's some basics that you simply cannot dismiss. And this is one of them. If you have your personal life, you have to have it sorted. Or if you cannot juggle between the job and your personal life, then you may need to consider something else. 49 says, don't schedule breakfast meetings during the school run. Why? Why do we need to accommodate you again? I mean, you have to figure that out on your own. And besides, how often do meetings happen? There is one morning that you should be able to tap your neighbor on the shoulder or something and be like, hey, yo, can you take my kids to school today? Or how about if you have them ride the bus or something? There are solutions out there. You're just refusing to take them for whatever reason. 50 says, if you manage a team, make sure that your employees know that you recognize period pain and cystitis as a legitimate reasons for a sick day. Now, that one is a little bit tricky because that is a medical condition. And when you have a medical condition, I feel like you should not be penalized for it constantly. But if that gets in the way of you doing your job, then I don't see why the company needs to accommodate you for that either. Um, because when you get hired because you meet the criteria of what they're looking for someone filling in that position. If you have all these situations going on and it gets in the way, something has to be done about you, because if you have an accident or if something happens to you, the company has to be liable for that, and that could have been easily prevented by not having you there. So on that note, I know that I have some medical conditions going on, like especially during that time of the month. I've spoken about it before. I have stuff going on, but I still show up to work. I do not call out unless I am knocked to the ground. And the times that I have left work in the middle of my shift was because I felt that I was no longer in a condition to where I could safely perform my job. I made that decision and I consulted leadership about it, and they agreed and they backed me up and they helped me get back home safely. That's how that situation is handled. You cannot be like, oh, I'm a woman and I have this condition once a month, so I need to be given extra sick days. No, this is already predefined, pre established in company statutes. So if you cannot meet that criteria, if you're broken way too often, you should simply not be there. All right. And it's tough. We all have bills to pay. We are adults. And, some of you have children and whatnot, and you really need the money, whatever. I mean, life is tough. No one said it isn't. And this is how business is. Business has its dark, evil aspects. And I guess this is it. They are looking for someone to be productive, not for someone who's going to be absent, has limitations, and etc. You know, same thing with dating. If you have a guy who does not like fulfill his purpose in your life to where you're satisfied, are you going to keep it around? No, you're going to break up with that mug. So, same thing with a job. You'll need to break up from your job because you are the one who cannot satisfy the job. So, that's the way I look at it. I'm not saying my views are correct. I'm not saying that I have the answers and that I'm right, but there is some stuff that makes sense to me, period. And this is one of them. This is about periods, and I said the word period. Anyways, 51. If you have a strict boss or mom or teacher who is a woman, she is not a bitch. Grow up. I mean, let's face it. There are people in positions of power who abuse that. And yes, they are bitches, and that's why they get called bitches. It's not that every single creature with a pair and flatlands gets treated that way, So you need to go easy on that. There are some people out there, some women in authority figures that are bitches. I have encountered them. So if we normally we resort to such a strong word when we are incredibly irritated. And guess what? Women have the capacity to irritate the hell out of someone, just like men have the capacity to irritate the hell out of someone. So we ain't that special. We ain't no different. You cannot be simply imposing that because guys get insulted all the time, and guess what? They can take it, especially when they go to the military and they do that freaking basic training. I imagine that they get spat in the face and junk. So, are they sitting there whining and crying about it? No. So, how about if we kind of establish a little bit of a distance, or not a little bit, some of us need a lot of distance from our emotional aspect and spectrum and sensitivity, and then strengthen our mind a little more to be able to withstand some pressure, especially the emotional kind. Because, dang, I mean, this is making us sound like we're made of freaking, I don't know, just glass, and it's stupid, really. 52 says expect a woman to do the stuff that's in her job description, not the other miscellaneous shit you don't know how to do yourself. I mean, this is coming from the person who says that they need to have more sick days because they cannot do the job. Part of the job description is implied, which is you need to be able to actually show up to your shift. So by you saying that, it's very easy to go back and roast you with it because you yourself do not really meet all of the criteria. There's that human factor. And if we're going to analyze the human factor, you are at a disadvantage naturally. That's no one's fault. Business does not account for that. It shouldn't have to. So usually you end up doing stuff that's beyond your job description anyway, because like I said, some stuff is implied. It doesn't need to be expressed for you to understand that it's part of the package, you know. So I think you're just looking for reasons to do less but still get paid the same or more for doing little, and to me that's crazy. 53 says refuse to speak on an all male panel. Why? If this is a career, a job that is male dominated, it's all right. The men are the ones who have the muscle and the knowledge and the capacity and comprehension for some things, and we don't get it. Now, if there was a woman who for some reason could match that, I promise you she would be in that panel. I promise you. But you're just looking to throw someone in there just because of what they are. No, the business world does not work like that. 54, in a Q&A session, only put your hand up if you have a question. Others didn't attend to listen to you. Now listen, I get that it's part of following instructions, but fun aspects of Q&As is to interact, period. You are pretty much trying to just once again shut someone up because of what they are. What if it was a woman saying stuff? Because women do this all the time. If anything, women can really ramble about any kind of shit, just like men can. So to me, this is a little insane. A little insane. Too insane. 55 says if you have friends or family member who use slurs or discriminate against trans or non-binary people, sit them down and explain why they must stop. This goes for cis women too. On that one, again, I'm not well informed to have an opinion, and I do have a little bit of my own thoughts going on, but I have not really exposed myself to this type of a scenario. Um, and I really do not know anyone who I have exchanged thoughts with on this matter. But be respectful to everyone, period. If they prefer to be addressed in a certain way, then you go for it. But let's face it, behind people's back, we all at some point have said trash about someone. And this, it doesn't even matter what their orientation is. We all have that one back room that we can get caved in to just vent. And usually, when we vent, it's not PG-13 content. So, again, I really want to be careful with that one because I know what it means, but I want to address it in a little bit of a different way to share some thoughts anyway. But again, be respectful to anyone, period, especially if they're right there in front of you. But you know, at some point we all do it. We all vent. We all say crazy things. So you're not made of glass. You will not shatter. 56 says if you have friends or family members, sorry, I read that. 57 says if you see women with their hands up, put yours down. This can be taken as a metaphor for a lot of things. Think about it. Why, again, why, if a guy's hand goes up because, like, they have a question, they have a comment, they have a concern, they can speak. It's okay to speak. Everyone has a right to speak their mind. You are asking for someone to put their hands down just because of what they are. No, this is not, what can I say? Courtesy rules do not apply here. It doesn't have to be ladies first all the time. Like, everyone can speak. You will get your turn. It's okay. Just wait for it. When you're on the road, do you have to, if you're a guy, do you have to let the female driver get in front of you? No, right? Because it doesn't make sense to do that. Same thing in a setting like this. It doesn't make sense for a guy to just put their hands down just because the girl needs to have a say. You know, it's crazy. It's You are insane. 58 says raising a feminist daughter means she is going to disagree with you and probably be right. Feel proud, not threatened. What kind of feminism are you talking about? And the reason I ask that is because feminism is supposed to be about uh what is it, like equal rights? You guys know all of that repertoire. What rights do we not have? Feminism seems to be picking up problems that do not correspond to it. Even the LGBT community, somehow, at some point, I don't know if it still happens in present times, but I feel like it was treated as a feminist issue. No, feminism is not going to save the world from its troubles. And that's all right because there are more troubles outside of that. And at least where I reside, we are way past the issues that feminism is claiming to battle. And some stuff you simply cannot escape. Like at any moment, any of us can be victims of violence. And as far as I'm concerned, usually it's the guys who get attacked more anyway. So I don't know. It's crazy that you say that you should you should raise a feminist daughter. How about if you raise someone who can think on their own and generate their own thoughts and opinion and let them be confident about it as opposed to trying to lead them into life with a mindset that you have pre-established for them to suit your agenda because you are failing at implementing the things that for good reason do not get implemented anyway, which would be a system based on unfairness and discrimination. Think about that one. 59 says teach your sons to listen to girls, give them space, believe them, and elevate them. That's interesting. Keep that one in mind because later there's going to come a point where it contradicts itself, and I'll point it out. I'll try to remember. But, anyways, I mean, how about if you teach your sons and daughters to just respect everyone's space? Period. That's all I have to say on that one. And then number 60 says, dads, buy your daughter tampons, don't make her hot water bottles, wash her bras, show her that her body isn't something to be ashamed of. Again, who does that? Maybe in the old days, this was a thing, but at least presently, this is not a thing. You are reaching. 61 says, but dads, do not try to iron her bras. This is a mistake you will only make once, whatever. 62, examine how domestic labor is divided in your home. Who does the cleaning, the child care, the organizing, the meal budgeting? Sons, this goes for you too. Who does mowing the lawn and stuff usually? Who usually takes care of the trash? Who usually washes the car? Who usually gives car maintenance? Who usually fixes plumbing and all that, all those issues, which, if you think about it, if you have an issue in your house, it needs to get fixed. It becomes a chore. So, of those things that can turn into chores, how many of those do women do? And then, how many of those do the men do? And I mentioned those specifically for good reason. So, how about if you take care of the stuff that you can clearly handle and let the other members of your household handle what they need to handle? Come up with a plan. Everyone executes it, but like it's just crazy to me that you're trying to say that the guys need to be doing more when I'm pretty sure they do the tougher stuff, especially the ones that involve being out in the sun. And when it snows like hell, who is usually cleaning the driveway and the sidewalks and everything? Think about it. 63, learn how to do domestic tasks to a high standard. I would only do it wrong is a bullshit excuse. Now listen, no one, absolutely no one in this world likes to be mistreated, insulted, and unappreciated. So if you have a guy who tries to do chores and he doesn't do them the way that you love for it to be done, and you do not at least express gratitude, do you think that's going to make him likely to do the task? No. How about if you say, thank you so much, honey, this and that, and then if it's something that's just absolutely essential that he gets it right, coach him about it. Be like, I appreciate that you at least tried. However, this is the ideal way to do it. This is the best way to do it, etc., etc. Teach him, coach him, be nice about it, and you will see better results. It's simple, basic human psychology. He will be more than glad and more likely to want to help. But if someone says that they would do it wrong, it's because that's the way of them expressing that they are intimidated to assist you with something because they are going to piss you off and no one deserves that treatment. Period. I would do that too. I would be like, you know what, hon? I would rather not mess with your car because I'm not sure how you want it fixed. But in the but first of all, no one is going to expect for me to be fixing a car or to be washing it or anything. So I'm just saying. 64 says never again comment on how long it takes a woman to get ready. We are trying, this is in all caps, we are trying to meet the ridiculous standards of a system you benefit from. What? Okay. For me, if I take a shower and I do not shave nor wash my hair, it takes me between 10 and 15 minutes. But if I gotta wash my hair and shave and all that, it takes me between 30 and 40 minutes. No one, absolutely no one in my life has ever given me hell about my appearance and that I don't look nice. And you guys know that I wear absolutely no makeup and I never have my nails done. So, what are you talking about? What ridiculous standards? I get complimented like crazy daily, online and offline. And do you know what? I am pretty confident about it. And the fact that people happen to tell me nice things anyway, that serves to prove the point that no one out there is actively saying you need to do something to your face. The only person in my life who gave me issues about my appearance was one of my grandmothers. She was like, you're going to go visit your other family looking like that. And looking like that was, I was visiting a family member who has a bunch of animals. And you guys know that I love animals and I will play with them, roll with them in the dirt and whatnot. And she wanted for me to wear blouse, heels, and wear makeup and maybe even possibly consider doing my hair. And then I was trying to explain to her where I was going. I'm like, yes, I am going to see some family, but this is a guy who has all of these amenities going on in his home, and I intend to enjoy them. So, I have been attacked more about my appearance by other women, not the guys. The guys have never told me what to wear or what to look like. Other women have. So, no, I cannot side with you on that one. I cannot. Like, and earlier in your points, you were saying that girls are awesome and you want to be like them. Girls are not awesome when they are the ones who give me problems about my appearance that I am perfectly happy and confident about, and I happen to get good positive feedback on. I just so happen to. So just take it easy and do not speak for me because you're getting it wrong. All right, so I'm at number 65 and I'm going to take a quick break and catch up with the comments. And I'll probably finish it and then start a new one because I am really afraid that it's going to crash. So at least I want to see what you guys think. said before that happens. Ollie says, I read this article. To be honest, I hate to be cynical, but it came off like the writer was being as forceful as possible about it. It just wasn't enough to talk about otherwise. You're right, because this really sounds like a person teaching. Jordan says, no. Ollie says, I aimed at a specific type of person who is uniquely horrible to women. The intended audience isn't like it. See, for instance, sometimes I think that it's bad or is going through a rough situation with a guy in her life, and she's trying to make this systematic, universal. Like, this is indicative of how every single man is, and that is false. Hello, Viking. Good to see you. Les, I kinda get on the assumption that it's aimed at people with a habit of not letting others talk, but I don't think it's a gender issue. I wouldn't make a scientific movie set of romance movies and men hating movies. I believe women can make scientific movies. I love different things that women can do. 37 is a movie, not something that goes in reality, or if you prefer. So sad. Don't get paid enough. Oh, NBA don't get paid enough. Pros, they don't get paid like NBA players. Well, they get paid like NBA players. I would assume it is because not watch women playing. It's not because women sports, it's because it just doesn't draw an audience, period. For me, let's take wrestling for example. For me, the matches between men are more exciting than the matches between women. Same thing with basketball, I guess. The strategy, the pace, the even the degree of brutality that can go on basketball when guys are there, to me is just more exciting. Like, I'm trying to remember a time I saw a woman freaking dunk, and I don't remember that. I genuinely don't remember that. I'm not saying that women cannot do it. I'm just saying, in the times that I have looked at a game on TV, I don't have a recollection of that. About someone thinks like that, they are unlikely to see or be persuaded by this article. If someone doesn't, they don't need. What was 41 about? Let me see. 37 and 49. Let me see what those were about. If a woman makes a good point, say that was a good point, or repeat her point and take credit. And what number was that? 41. If you meet a man and a woman at work, do not assume the man is the superior for literally no reason. Someone thinks that they're likely to see it be persuaded by this article. If someone doesn't, okay. Most of the time, hire a model woman who don't have degrees, but an early woman have degrees, knows the job, and won't get hired. Well, in that situation, should be a major red flag for anyone entering that company. That means that manager has ulterior motives, and his position should be questioned. But I mean, you should be able to catch on to that at some point. You see what I mean? So, anyways, please don't crash. All I want is for the stream to not crash. I'm gonna be sad cookie if it crashes. But anyways, it's my fault for not having better equipment. Most us men don't like women making more money than us men. I on when a woman is being a boss of a woman, not me too bossy. Females of coal miners, male privileges. Exactly. Get the women mind jobs because wars are coming to the city. I'm not saying I'm saying most men will hire a model for a job, a woman who can have beautiful brains. I like the story about a female CEO who utopia. So she had, long story short, company gone bad, poor CEO hates women. I like your reading skills, Zamri. Thanks a lot. All problems with feminism and SJW will be sorted as soon. Aria Lodge. Why don't I know how to read often? Will be implemented in every country. Prophet Muhammad in Quran about female situation and position in Islam. Look it up. Just for lols. I could read it, but I don't mind to make breakfast. Relationship goals. Someone bring this girl her biscuit in the morning. Women need to work on their